AITA for telling my sister that she is ruining her child's life with an iPad. My sister 36F and her husband have a 10-year-old kid who, for the purposes of this post, is called Jim Muffy, who me and my husband sometimes babysit on the weekends, and on some days, I take him to school. As of about a year ago, we started to notice that Jim Muffy was beginning to develop an American accent. We're Australian, small kids have phases, and so I didn't want to make it a thing. Over the next few months, the accent got thicker and Jim Muffy became more irritable. Me and my husband brought this up with my sister, who said that Jim Muffy wasn't very grumpy when with her. He then started losing interest in almost all activities that he used to enjoy. Again, this was a concern for me. Every weekend it got worse. He would complain of being bored, but when we offered an exhaustive list of all the things we could do with him, he said no to every single one. The school year for 2020 started, and on the weekend after that Jim Muffy told us that his teacher and a few classmates had asked him how long he'd been in the US before moving to Australia. At this point, his American accent was indistinguishable from a general American accent. My husband and I were really wondering what was happening. Then, it was Jim Muffy's birthday party. His family was invited, including me, and so were all his friends. This was the moment that made me realize to some extent what was going on. He was on an iPad, scrolling some kind of short-form content that I did not recognize. His friends wanted to play with him, and he just did not notice they were there. People were giving him presents, and he acted like he was inconvenienced for having to turn the iPad off. Never before had any of my nieces or nephews reacted like this upon me giving them money and delicious treats. I told my sister that something was going on, and that Jim Muffy is obviously not in a good way. She seemed very offended that I was questioning her parenting choices, as she put it, and she decided that me and my husband babysitting Jim Muffy had to stop. The next time I saw Jim Muffy was very recently. At my niece's birthday party, different parents, Jim Muffy was completely glued to the iPad. He was noticeably skinnier, which I suspect was because he was forgetting to eat in favor of iPad time. And when anyone went over to talk to him, he would almost instinctively push the screen towards his body so nobody could see. I had to talk to my sister and her husband. I told them what I thought, that a year ago Jim Muffy was an energetic child who got along really well with everyone, and now he's reclusive, and it's obvious from just looking at him that he's skipping meals. My sister denied any changes in Jim Muffy's behavior, but her husband did admit that I was right to some extent, and Jim Muffy's friends had stopped trying to hang out with him because he said number 100% of the time. I told my sister she was wrecking Jim Muffy's life by continuing to let this iPad stuff happen. She started shouting at me, and I walked out of the party.